War never changes. But some elements of the Fallout universe did when the franchise made the jump from video game to television show. But what exactly sets the live-action Wasteland apart? The Fallout TV series loves a good serum. Several are used to advance the plot, like when the Ghoul tries to sell Lucy to organ harvesters in exchange for vials that'll stop him from going feral. Then there's the snake oil salesman, whose livelihood involves hawking serums to unfortunate Wastelanders. At least one of his concoctions actually works, as it gives V.A.T.S the ability to heal from any injury, with side effects.
That is... I think you might be a ghoul.
Oh no.
In 2025, a Fallout 76 update gave gamers a chance to turn their characters into ghouls for the first time in the series' history. Just like V.A.T.S, players are given a special inhaler that initiates the ghoulification process, but there's an additional step: prolonged radiation exposure. It's far from an instant process like it was for the former Brotherhood Squire, but perhaps there were developments in ghoul technology over the nearly 200 years between Fallout 76 and the TV show. As a ghoul in Fallout 76, you have to regularly use chems to ensure that you don't go fully feral. There, the anti-ghoul serum's closest equivalent is a consumable item called the Fix, but it's bright orange and injectable instead. Ghoul gameplay was clearly designed to line up with the show, but that hasn't stopped observant fans from noticing that none of the ghouls in the previous games use any sort of similar serum. As one shared on Reddit, "If all ghouls need to take it, then it totally breaks the law. Garb didn't have to take it, Sharon didn't take it, in fact, no ghouls in the games mentioned it."
Just one little puff, and I'll be back on my feet. You know I'm good for it.
I'm sorry, Roger, I'm all out.
In an apocalyptic landscape full of bizarre irradiated creatures, the Gulper stands out as being particularly unsettling. The ones seen in the Amazon series look a bit like giant axolotls, if axolotls had human fingers lining the inside of their mouths. They're shown to be quite ferocious, but don't give up if one swallows you whole. They digest food slowly, so maybe your friends will have time to come save you. These abominations make for great TV, but the ones on the show aren't the same as the ones gamers became familiar with. Gulpers were introduced in the Fallout 4 DLC, Far Harbor, and they've since appeared in Fallout 76. The ones seen in the games more closely resemble giant hellbender salamanders and axolotls, with a more reptilian design and the ability to stand on 2 feet. This doesn't break continuity though. While the Gulpers on the East Coast were mutated by nuclear radiation, the West Coast Gulpers were created with genetic testing in Vault 4.
Our test subjects were less compliant than we expected.
According to Ben Carnell, the man responsible for the original Gulper design, the 2 variants are basically cousins. As he revealed on X, "It would have been amazing to see my design in the show, but I honestly love when there are regional differences to creatures. Outside of maybe Vault Boy himself, nothing is more emblematic of the Fallout universe than a classic suit of power armor. The box art of the very first game put a power armor helmet front and center, and it's been protecting players ever since. Sometimes, as is the case in Fallout 3, power armor is just the best way to defend yourself out in the wasteland. In Fallout 4 though, power armor transforms you into a mechanized tank that can fly across the waste with ease. Just like in the games, there's plenty of power armor in the TV series, but there are some notable differences in how it works. We get to see Maximus fly around in his stolen suit, but instead of having a jetpack, his armor uses wrist-mounted propulsion like Iron Man. There's also the construction of their helmets. While Brotherhood Knights in the games have to take their helmets off entirely in order to show their faces, the show gives them the ability to remotely remove their faceplates for easier conversation. Finally, the power armor that the Brotherhood of Steel uses in the show has a major flaw that doesn't exist in the games.
There was a flaw in the welding, just below the chest plate.
The Ghoul exploits the flaw to single-handedly take down an entire Brotherhood squadron, but gamers don't have the option to take advantage of any sort of weak spot. The Brotherhood of Steel is not the most consistent Fallout faction, with its influence and goals varying somewhat from game to game. Initially, their main purpose was to collect and hoard technology, understandably believing that humankind could not be trusted with it. As the Brotherhood stretched its reach across the ruins of the United States, different chapters started setting their own priorities. Some became more concerned with protecting the people of the Wasteland, while others came to obsess over purifying the land by killing every mutated creature they see. Maximus's chapter of the Brotherhood in the Fallout show isn't like any that we've seen before. They place an emphasis on the religious aspects of their order, seemingly adding to their ranks by taking in orphans. Elder Cleric Quintus believes that the Brotherhood has lost its way, and he envisions a future where they govern with a power-armored fist.
The Brotherhood has lost its way. We once ruled the Wasteland.
That's a more aggressive and authoritarian stance than any Brotherhood elder in the games has ever taken, and it might explain why members of Maximus's chapter, like Knight Titus, are so cruel. Only time will tell whether or not they'll be able to exact their will on the Wasteland. The New California Republic was the first organized government that formed after the bombs dropped, and its capital, Shady Sands, was one of the first post-war cities built. The NCR had a huge role to play in Fallout 2 and New Vegas, and by 2281, they had grown into a full-fledged civilization with over 700,000 citizens. In perhaps the most controversial change introduced in the Fallout show, it turns out that Shady Sands was nuked off the map after the events of Fallout New Vegas. As sad as fans were to hear it, Bethesda's Todd Howard himself confirmed the fall of Shady Sands is indeed canon to the Fallout universe. The survivors of this devastating event have since scattered to various other cities and settlements. It's a bit of a shock, although you could argue that the game set this change up to a certain extent. In Fallout New Vegas, it's revealed that the NCR is facing some instability after expanding too much too quickly. It's struggling to manage the needs of its citizens, while also keeping the worst of the Wasteland at bay. The writing was on the wall, but the show's surprise revelation made waves in the Fallout fandom. In the Fallout universe, the Enclave is a group of former government officials and wealthy elites who seek to restore the best and worst parts of pre-war America. More often than not, Enclave members show up as villains in various games, until the organization was supposedly defeated forever in Fallout 3. That said, much like radroaches, it's apparently impossible to keep them down. The Fallout show resurrected the Enclave, with one member playing a big role in the story.
If you insist on staying, then you will have to adapt.
In the first episode of the Amazon series, it's revealed that Maximus and Titus are hunting for someone from the Enclave. In episode 2, viewers get a glimpse at a functional Enclave research facility, where Dr. Siggy Wilzig puts the finishing touches on a mysterious device. Wilzig defects from the Enclave and escapes into the Wasteland after an Enclave administrator realizes that he's carried out unauthorized cold fusion research, which triggers a manhunt by the Brotherhood of Steel and helps kick off the narrative. We don't learn much about what's left of the Enclave, but despite the group being on the fringes of the story, its importance in the grand scheme of things is quite large. Much like the NCR itself, the West Coast as a whole seems to be in rough shape in the Fallout TV series. The very sandy condition of the Wasteland probably doesn't seem strange to anyone who's getting their first dose of Fallout from Amazon Prime Video. After all, shouldn't a show about life after a nuclear apocalypse be, well, apocalyptic? Of course, but for anyone who's been keeping up with the past several decades of Fallout lore, the West couldn't look stranger. Up until this point, most of California, parts of Oregon, and even bits of territory in Nevada were under the control of the NCR. We're talking full cities, paved roads, even taxes. Life in this part of the country looked a lot more civilized and a lot less survivalist than what we see in the Fallout show. Instead of functioning cities, we see a similar settlement in Philly, which is much more similar to Megaton over in the capital Wasteland. Instead of paved roads, there's dangerous, unpatrolled desert. It's safe to say that the nuclear strike on Shady Sands also affected the surrounding area in a big way. For as long as the Fallout games have existed, fans have debated about who dropped the bombs first. The global thermonuclear conflict known as the Great War was the result of a decades-long conflict between the United States and China. Readable in-game records from the American side state that the Chinese launched their strike first. But given the intensity of patriotic propaganda in 2077, nothing is known for certain. The TV show muddied the waters even further by suggesting that the Great War was not started by government leaders, but rather corporate ones. Apparently, Wastelanders have Vault-Tec and Robert House to thank for their abysmal living conditions. In the Season 1 finale of Fallout, Cooper Howard spies on a Vault-Tec board meeting and hears his wife. A high-ranking executive in the company pitched the concept of vaults to other bigwig industry barons. Her main selling point is that Vault-Tec has a rather morbid way of ensuring a return on investment.
How can you guarantee results?
By dropping the bomb ourselves.
One of the CEOs at that meeting is Robert House, billionaire founder of Robco Industries and one of the major players in Fallout New Vegas. While it's Vault-Tec that comes up with the idea to nuke the world, House is the one who actually puts together the missile system, as Moldova reveals to Cooper in the first episode of Season 2.
When the bombs drop, it'll be Robert House that presses the button.
One of the mechanics that sets the Fallout titles apart from other video games is the Vault-Tec Assisted Targeted System, V.A.T.S for short. It allows players to slow down time and attack specific body parts to turn the tide of combat. V.A.T.S appeared in the very first Fallout game, and it remained a staple of the series even as it evolved from a top-down RPG to a first-person action game. It's hard to imagine Fallout without it, but nevertheless, Season 1 of the series came and went without any reference to the system. That's not necessarily a surprise, given how unique the mechanic is to the medium of gaming. Making such a thing seem cinematic definitely poses a challenge. The closest thing that Fallout Season 1 has to V.A.T.S is when the Ghoul's gunslinging goes slow motion, but given that he doesn't wear a Pip-Boy, it's safe to say that he can't see any glowing percentages. No, that's just a result of multiple centuries of experience.
Damn, y'all ain't got me working up an appetite.
As of the first episode of Season 2, V.A.T.S has yet to appear, but there's still plenty of Fallout left to go. If and when it finally does show up, you can bet that it'll be a bloody good time.